People everywhere are starting to listen to him. He's going on French, British, Italian, Japanese television.
This is the Wide World of Weingarten.
Wide World of Weingarten, January 31st. Almost 5 p.m. in Los Angeles. It is Monday, the day after the championship games. The Super Bowl is finally set after a long season. The road has led us to the Rams and the Bengals. The Rams playing at home, although they are the away team in the Super Bowl. They are playing at their home. They'll be in their home locker room at SoFi Stadium. And their opponent's going to be the Bengals, who upset the Chiefs last week in a game where the Chiefs at halftime had something like a 95% win probability. So congratulations to the Bengals. They did the absolutely unexpected. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs at home. Joe Burrows, within the last 3 years, has now won a Heisman. He's won a national championship, and he is on his way to a Super Bowl. Very, very impressive stuff from him. He's ascended to a top-tier quarterback before our eyes, even with the injury last year. And Jamar Chase was a huge addition. I was one of the people who said, well, they have to draft Seawall or Slater and get a tackle, build a line to protect Burrow, and they said, no, we're going to get Jamar Chase, and good for them. I'm glad they didn't listen to me or anybody who said draft tackle. But the AFC Championship game, I have to watch a replay of the second half. I was on my way to the NFC Championship game, driving to the game, so I didn't get a chance to see the end of the second half or overtime. I was listening to it on the XM radio, so I got to hear the Chiefs' home call as their season ended, which was fun. But yeah, I couldn't tell you what exactly happened. So far, I've read Bill Barnwell's analysis of the second half, but I'd like to see it with my own eyes. According to Twitter, I saw that Mahomes had a 1.4 QBR in the second half in overtime, which was the sixth worst second half performance by any quarterback in any game this season. So Mahomes' second half was up there with Mike Glennon and Sam Darnold's worst days. My initial reaction to seeing stuff like this is that Mahomes was injured. Potentially, maybe he got hit in the head, had a concussion or something in the first or second quarter, and that affected his play in the second half. I will try to go back and look and be on the lookout for that if I have time to kind of zoom through the full game tape. But it's also possible he just picked a bad day to have a bad day. Happens to everybody. Chiefs just got gassed and lost in the second half. But I would really like to go back and look, because my initial reaction is that there was some sort of injury from Mahomes. But potentially we'll see that news leak out if true. If not, I'm just kind of throwing stuff against the wall here. The NFC Championship game, on the other hand, which I was at, was quite the game, possibly the best game in the history of SoFi Stadium, unless you're a 49ers fan, then maybe Week 17 was the best game in the history of SoFi Stadium. But for Rams fans, I think we witnessed the best game in the history of this new stadium, the Stan Canyon. I thought the Rams outplayed the 49ers in the first half. The missed field goal by Matt Gay was the difference between a 10-10 tie and the 49ers being up 10-7 at halftime. I do have to say it was very confusing. At best, it was 50-50 Rams, 49ers. At worst, it was more likely a heavily 49ers crowd. Far more than the Rams, to the point where I was still walking in right when the game started, and when Matt Stafford threw his first interception at the beginning of the game, I heard the cheering. I assumed it was a Rams touchdown because they were cheering so loud. I had no idea until I got closer to my seats and I saw the 49ers had the ball and the score was 0-0, that turnover had occurred in the red zone. So 49ers fans came out in force, even though the Rams encouraged no selling of tickets to the 49ers. They showed up, but fortunately they walked away sad. It was quite the sight. From start to finish, it was pretty great to be there, and I have to watch tape again because even in person, and I noted a whole bunch of things in my head as the game was going on, but you're so kind of engrossed in the game at that moment that I really do have to go back and watch the second half of this game and the Chiefs game. Hopefully I'll bang those out later tonight. But some notes I did have on this game is that one obviously is Cooper Kupp showed why he's the real NFL MVP, and he might not win. He's most likely not going to win. I would assume Aaron Rodgers was the vote is going to be given the award, although it's going to be a weird situation. I wonder if he actually shows up. It's a live award ceremony right before the Super Bowl. I wonder, will he be incentivized to show up with an appearance fee? A lot of stuff I'm wondering this year because they're doing a live show as opposed to pre-recorded. Obviously there could be some shenanigans. It wouldn't surprise me if the NFL kind of stepped in and did something, but I assume Aaron Rodgers is going to win this award, whether he's there to accept it or not. But Cooper Kupp absolutely deserved the MVP this year over Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Cooper Kupp showed last night why he's the MVP, why he's the heart of the Rams offense. He came through when they needed it. Although you also absolutely have to acknowledge that Odell Beckham has really stepped in and stepped up as a wide receiver number 2. He's helped ease the burden of losing Robert Woods. This team would be even better if they were throwing out a Woods, Kupp, Odell Beckham trio, but unfortunately Beckham has had to step into the wide receiver number 2 role, which he's excelled at. And obviously it helps Cooper Kupp that Odell Beckham takes pressure off him and vice versa. Wide receiver number 2s often tend to put up very good numbers when they play with elite wide receivers, but it helps when they can carry the load themselves. And Odell Beckham still more or less, he could probably still be a wide receiver number 1, but he's stepped into this wide receiver number 2 role in Los Angeles and done a very good job, and should be commended for his contributions to this Rams team since he's arrived. The Jaquiski Tart dropped interception. Quote from one of my friends sitting with me, I literally could have caught that, is what he said, and I don't think it was hyperbole. He wasn't joking. Looked like a center fielder out there. I think the only reason he dropped the ball is because he honestly could not comprehend that a ball was coming to him, that directly. It's so unusual to see a play like that. He literally looked like a center fielder waiting for a ball to come down, and that was one of the big plays of the game that obviously could have turned it for the 49ers, especially because they had a 1-0 turnover margin at that point. Still, I think it ended 1-1 at the end. I actually have to go back and look at that at the box score. There's some parts of the game that slipped my memory at this point because I was just so engrossed in the moment. At least that's what I'm going with. And obviously the big story is the punt on 4th and 2 from midfield that essentially decided the game. It gave the ball back to the Rams with no timeouts, a chance to march downfield. They marched downfield. They kicked the game-winning field goal, and that was basically it. The defense came through after that, and the Rams are on the way to the Super Bowl. Had the 49ers run for a first down after the Rams... After the Rams wasted their last time out and gave them an opportunity to reconsider the punt, had they converted the first down, they would have had ample opportunity to run the ball, run the clock down, potentially at least to the 2-minute warning. At worst, maybe kick a field goal, go up 6, force the Rams to march downfield, beat you with a touchdown and an extra point. A lot can go wrong. Instead, they punted. It didn't work out, and obviously, if the defense had got to stop, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But they didn't, and we are. That's what happens in championship games. When you lose, the calls get dissected. And I think this is just going to go down as a bad call, and it probably kept Kyle Shanahan awake last night. The more I think about it, I just think that when you have Trent Williams, and obviously we know he didn't practice all week, so he wasn't close to 100%. He was injured enough where they couldn't do that play where they put him in motion and kind of make him a bowling ball. But he's what I've called the best tackle in football. He's a future first ballot Hall of Famer, many 7-time All Pro, first team, I think, something ridiculous like that. The guy is just a massive man. He's one of the best players in football and one of the few players I consider a game-changing player as an offensive lineman. A rare distinction for me to consider somebody so talented like that. But obviously he wasn't 100% because you would think that on 4th and 2, the most important play of the game at that point to potentially decide your fate to go to the Super Bowl, you would absolutely run the ball behind him. If not, pull out one of those secret plays you have, put him in motion, run behind your great fullback Kyle Juszczyk, and just run a violent power run, push everybody off the line and get those 2 yards and go to the Super Bowl. But they didn't. They punted, and they gave the Rams that glimmer of hope that they needed. And Kyle Shanahan will have the rest of the offseason to reconsider and start thinking about building a new offense around Trey Lance, because it doesn't look like Jimmy Garoppolo is coming back to San Francisco. But the 49ers punted 3 times from midfield or closer. It was the most in any game under Kyle Shanahan. They're the only team in the last 3 postseasons to have 3 punts from midfield or worse in a game. I get trusting your defense, but damn Kyle Shanahan. Damn Kyle Shanahan. That was the game right there. You just threw it away. You trusted your defense. You gave the Rams ball. You gave them the ball. You gave them the opportunity to beat you, and they did. And that's it. And another note for 49ers fans, not to rub it in, but something that should definitely concern them in the offensive play calling down the stretch. They did not get the ball into the hands of Deebo Samuel. He last touched the ball with 12:42 left in the fourth quarter. So obviously that's some bad play calling on the 49ers, side of things. They didn't get the ball into the hands of Deebo Samuels, but also a great job by the Rams shutting the 49ers' most impact offensive player down for the final 20% of the game. Keeping the ball out of his hands was the difference. He scored that touchdown. That was a great play, unless you had Deebo Samuel no touchdown or under longest play prop, then it was not that great. But Deebo Samuel is, many people have said he's the 49ers Cooper Kupp. I don't think it's fair to compare him to Cooper Kupp, because Cooper Kupp doesn't run the ball like a running back the way Deebo Samuel does. But he's a very dynamic player. Much respect, I think, from him across the league. It was impressive to watch him even in a loss last night. And that's some bad scheming on the 49ers' part to not have the ball in the hands of one of their best players for practically the final slightly just over 20% of the game. Didn't work out. Rams are going to the Super Bowl. I'm pretty excited about that. I bet the Rams money line to win the Super Bowl. Rams were already won 190. They opened minus 175. Got bet up to minus 190 real quick. My friend Joey texted me, Joey Isaacs, if you know him. He said the Rams minus 190 already from 175. I said, great. I'm going to bet some of it right now. I don't think I got a great deal on it at minus 190, but I did want to get in on the Rams on the money line. I'm not necessarily excited about laying 4. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, potentially a shootout. But I like the Rams' chances to win at home. And I saw Circa's as high as minus 108 last night. They went to minus 208 last night, minus 209 today. So this is a weird game. You don't necessarily get accurate, sharp sort of number on the money line like you would a normal game, just because the size of the bets and the amount of money coming in is much different. The structure of the Super Bowl compared to any other singular football game during the year. But I laid minus 190 with the Rams. Happy to do that early. The limits are not huge an hour after the NFC Championship game, so it's a relatively small bet for me. I'm happy to risk minus 190 here. We'll have a lot of time to dive into the Super Bowl, obviously, props, everything. We have 2 weeks. Numbers will open up, MVP markets. We'll go over all of it. Try to find the best long shots. Obviously, I already have a couple that I've thought of. I've talked about a couple times on some older podcasts. Some Ram stuff I like. I'll start compiling that stuff later this week. Tyler Higby is out for the Rams for the Super Bowl, most likely. He has an MCL sprain. It's unlikely he's going to recover in 2 weeks. That means Kendall Blanton will be in the lineup. He'll definitely be a guy I'm going to look at for first, anytime, touchdown, all that stuff. This could be a very, very interesting Super Bowl to find bets on. Like I said, we'll have a lot we'll have a lot of time to jump into the Super Bowl, so probably talk about that almost every day for the next 2 weeks in one form or another. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to take a quick break, have a drink of water, come back. We're going to talk a little bit about golf. So stay tuned. Welcome back. Wide World of Weingarten. Time to review the golf bets from last week. Talk a little bit about what's going on this week. First, the bad news. We'll start with Dubai, where Justin Harding disappointed. He took a 2-shot lead into the final round on Saturday night and came away, I think 3, 4, 5 shots behind the eventual winner, Victor Hovland. Ended up winning in a playoff over Richard Bland, Big Dick Bland. Fortunately, I slept through the worst parts of Justin Harding's implosion. I woke up in time for the playoff, watched the end of it. Victor Hovland now has 3 wins in his last 5 starts. Not necessarily flying under the radar, but don't think you're going to see anything under 10-1 on Hovland in any fields for quite some time, except maybe the Masters or whatever. But in general, I think the value has now been absolutely sucked out of Victor. Got to look somewhere else. Richard Bland made a nice run there at the end. He's always a great story. He's 46, I think, 46 or 48. Went almost 300, maybe 400. I don't have the exact number anymore, but he went years and years and years without winning a single tour event on the European Tour. Did not have a win and finally broke through last year. And one of the better things in golf is seeing guys like that win their first event and seeing how much it meant to him. And there was some COVID stuff at the time, so they zoomed in his parents and his wife, and they were just so happy. All of them were so happy for him to win. And you watch Rory win or Colin Morikawa win, and no disrespect to them or John Rahm or Dustin, Patrick Reed. Nobody likes to watch him win, so disrespect to him intended, absolutely. But you watch a lot of these other golfers win, and it's you're happy for them, but it's not really exciting. But you see Richard Bland win his first event in style like that. It's the small things like that outside of gambling make watching these things enjoyable. But kind of bummed that Justin Harding didn't close. Not surprised he didn't close, but damn dude, 100-1. You just really let me down. It was $35,000 or so that just did not materialize. But on the PGA Tour, Luke List held on to win at Torrey Pines, giving me my first, hopefully not my last winner of the 2020 golf season. Luke List, 75-1, gives me a little bit of bankroll to play around with. Wasn't even the best number. I know some 80s were out there, but got to take it. Got to be happy, 75-1. Both cases this week with Justin Harding in Dubai and Luke List in Torrey Pines. These guys were on the fringe of my card, and I always feel like for myself personally, and I tell other people the same, but if you're deciding you have 2 guys on your card, you have 3 guys on your card, and you're leaving off one of your favorite guys, whether it's Justin Harding or Alex Bjork or whoever your favorite golfer tends to be, you're always just better off betting one extra guy. It's going to cost you some money, especially if you're doing this stuff semi-seriously. It might end up costing you some money. $500, adds up real quick. If you're doing this every week, could be several $1,000s by the time you're done adding stuff on. So it is dangerous and it could snowball quick, but I personally just feel better. Harding and List were both examples of guys that were not necessarily at the top of my list, but I added them anyways. I said, well, I might as well. I'm adding McNeely. I might as well add List. And I don't remember exactly why I added Harding, but I did because he's basically my boy. I would have been disappointed if Harding broke through and won a Rolex Series event without me betting on him. So, like I always say, just bet your boys and add an extra guy if you got to add an extra guy. So it'll just give you a little bit peace of mind. But Luke List came through, at least gives me a little bit of some bankroll to play with. Justin Harding didn't. I did wish he came through, Joe, just because it was a bigger bet. And I like it when Justin Harding wins. So disappointing, but at least I slept through the worst parts of it and woke up just to watch the playoff. But this week we have a lot to talk about. I'll talk about some of it today. I'll talk about more of it tomorrow because I still need more time to dive into the cards. We have 3 events this week. I've already made a couple of bets in each of them. But this week we have we have PGA. We have Euro, DP, World Tour, and we have a Asian Tour co-sanctioned event with $15 million in sponsorship money, the Bonesaw Classic from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Because so many of the best players have been drawn to the kingdom with bribe money, appearance fee money, only 6 of the OWGR official World Golf Ranking top 40 will be in the field at Pebble Beach. That is an unusually low amount of the top players to be playing such a good event, such a top-tier event, which I think was one of the big reasons why the PGA was hesitant to allow golfers to play in this event, but they realized that they were in such a terrible negotiating position, how bad they would look if they didn't let players go, that they had to acquiesce to the Saudis. So think about how bad your negotiating position has to be to acquiesce to the Saudis, but that's what the PGA did. I've talked about it a little bit before, but the reason Pebble Beach is such a big deal is because it's a Pro-Am. It's played over 3 courses, and the fact that it's a Pro-Am means that the golfers get to play with executives and big-time businessy people, and those are the kinds of people that sponsor tournament events, CEOs from big corporations. They got their names, those logos on the golfers, and one of the kind of perks in return for sponsorship is you get to play with the golfer at Pebble Beach. So a lot of these guys are there for sponsorship obligations, as well as it just being a nice stop on the West Coast swing early in the season. So it's an unusually poor field, which doesn't really matter for me personally, because as a gambler, I've tried to convey this before, but winning 50-1 at Pebble Beach with the second half of the top 50 of the world golf rankings pays just the same as winning, whatever you're going to win on Dustin Johnson. He's 8-1, and in the Bonesaw in Saudi. But 20 of the top 50 players will be in the Saudi in the Bonesaw Classic, which is cool because it's kind of this combination top PGA field with top Euro guys and some filler, and then some Asian Tour filler. So some chances to get funky with some guys farther down the card, which I look forward to doing tomorrow. Dustin Johnson, 8-1 favorite in the Bonesaw. I think that's a crazy price on DJ. Not that his form is relatively that bad, or compared to this field, he looks fine at Torrey Pines, but he's flying across the world to get some appearance fees. No guarantee that he's gonna going to really try. And that's kind of one of the angles that I'm going to focus on later this week is the amount of appearance fees that the Saudis are paying. Basically, it's like, do you really have to press and try to win this tournament? If you're a guy who's not like Tiger Woods mindset that you have to win everything all the time, or you're just going to be content to collect your check and play some par golf and fly home and get ready for Phoenix or whatever you're doing next on the PGA Tour. That'll be something to consider later this week. Besides that, we get another Euro DP World Tour event in the Emirates, this time at Ras Al Khaimah. Ras Al Khaimah, I think is how you say it. I'm not 100%. It's a new stop on the tour, although it is the oldest of the seven Emirates that make up the United Arab Emirates. The others being Dubai and Abu Dhabi, which are the most well-known and the most populated with 4+ and 2+ million residents of each, followed by Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah, which I mentioned. I don't actually know how to say it. Ras Al Khaimah, I'll figure that out tomorrow. Ajman, Rujara, and Al Quadain. Those are the Emirates that make up the United Arab Emirates. Most people just know Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So congratulations, you probably learned something new today. They're playing at the Al Hamra golf course, which has previously hosted 3 Challenge Tour events. All things considered, with the Euro Tour guys playing in Saudi Arabia, or taking advantage of those guys playing in the Bonesaw to slip into the field at Pebble Beach, we get a proper Euro Tour field this week. And I'm looking forward to taking odds on some long shots on an unfamiliar course. Plus, a lot of guys are coming off this Dubai Abu Dhabi swing where they've already played 6 to 8 rounds golf the last couple weeks, and they're still on travel schedule. So you're not necessarily going to see these guys crap out, but you would expect to see some worse scores. Potentially on a new course. Just some fatigue is natural. Sometimes you just want to get back to your own bed and you're just tired of being in the Emirates for a month. Although some guys like it, some guys live there, like the Hogard brothers, who are near the top of the card this week. They're residents of Dubai, so this isn't much of a travel for them. But Al Hamra, it's a par 72 measuring 7,325 yards. It's built on salt flats. It's a seaside golf course, and if there's a little bit of wind, I'd expect some sand in the greens, a little bit of sandy greens. But the field is interesting. Any field where Patrick Harrington is 40-1, you'll probably find some value on some high variance guys below him. Alex Bjork, another guy, he's 25-1. I like Alex Bjork. I'm not necessarily going to bet him at 25-1. But the guys I've bet so far, Pebble Beach, I have 3 guys that I bet some small, $100, $200 opening numbers. Grayson Sig, 115-1. Minwoo Lee, one of my favorites. He's in the field at Pebble Beach, 66-1. I think that's a good price considering the prices he's been against fields with better competition at the top in Dubai and in the Euro Tour recently. And then Mito Pereira, the Chilean, 60-1. I think that's a good price. Probably see that number come down. I would like to bet Maverick McNeely again. He did well in this event. I think he got second last year, but there's not much value on him at 28-1 or 25-1. It might sneak him in a top 10. Might end up playing him, but 25-1. Got to bet $400 or $500 to get a 5-figure return on him, and I'm not saying that he can't do it, but it's just a situation sort of where if you've been backing the guy like I have at 60-1, 80-1, 100-1 for months on end, for a season on end, and now he's 25-1, you're like, I'm not super excited about that. So I gotta think more about that, and maybe he's a guy I'll bet live, but I think I'm passing on him at 25-1. In Ras Al Khaimah, if that's how you say it, my first bet is Marcus Hellingclyde at 70-1. He's good at down to 60-1. I'll have a much more in-depth look at the betting card in the Emirates tomorrow. And in the bone saw, I have one opening bet in the bone saw. JH Junhung Kim, 45 to 1. I know 50 to 1's available. That's my first bet there. I have to look around a little bit more, kind of go through all these cards and solidify some more bets and some more odds. And obviously got to wait for bookmaker to open and see who likes what, and kind of circle back tomorrow. But much more in-depth golf preview tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have some Series Caribe to talk about. There's a game going on right now. If you'll excuse me real quick, I want to check the score. Oh, Colombia. It is bottom of the fourth inning. Colombia is up 2-0 over the Dominican Republic. Colombia was plus 260 as an underdog. The total was 7. Not totally surprised, though. The Dominicans have already clinched and they're through to the second round. So the Colombians have been a real surprise this tournament, actually. They won their first game. They beat Venezuela, a game where I laid minus 225 on Venezuela. Yeah, that was crazy. That was actually Colombia's first win in the history of their Series Caribe appearance. I think they've been in for 2 or 3 years now. That was their first win. They followed it up by winning another game. If they happen to hold on and win this game, they will be through to the knockout round, which is amazing. That's a huge improvement for the country's winter leagues, to not only win a game this season, but potentially move on to the knockout round. They're a couple innings away. Obviously, fourth inning is not. It's still a lot of time left. Absolutely, very, very lot of time left. But they are potentially on their way to the biggest upset of the tournament. A win over the mighty Dominicans would be a highlight of the Colombian baseball program. So we'll see if that happens, and we'll have more to talk about with the Series Caribe as they finish up the group stage tomorrow and go into the knockout rounds. As I've mentioned, the Series Caribe is one of my favorite events. We'll have some definitely some more to talk about this week as we look to fill our betting cards in between now and the Super Bowl. Thank you for listening. Go Rams! Very excited. The Super Bowl's in LA. Can't wait to see who's coming to town. And congratulations. I know one of my listeners, Richard, had a big ticket on the Bengals to win. The AFC's got a big ticket on them to win the Super Bowl. Looking good, Richard. That's awesome. Congratulations to everyone who cashed Bengals and Rams tickets. I know there were a lot of Rams tickets out there, not a lot of Bengals tickets. They were like 80 to 1 before the season. Nobody expected them to make the playoffs. Nobody expected them to win the division. And nobody expected them to make the Super Bowl. Here they are. They'll come to LA, and hopefully the Rams are going to beat them. But it should be a great game. We will talk about it every day for the next 2 weeks. So tune in. Wide World of Weingarten. Happy to be here. Thanks for listening.